Hello friends, so today start finally our journey in our medical classes. It is our first class in our NEET medical courses. In first class we discussed in the first chapter of class 11. So we divided this part into the two sections, class 11 and class 12. You know that class 11 syllabus, the different books, NCERT books we are follow. On the other hand, in the class 12, we also follow the NCERT books. In the NCERT books and also in the NEET syllabus, totally are the same. So, we follow NCERT books. Which books? NCERT books, right? Very good. So, in the NCERT books, first chapter is the living world. We discussed this chapter, living world, right? But you know, the living world is a very important chapter, but when we discuss about the living world, we discuss the different characteristic features. But in this chapter, we follow strictly NCERT syllabus. That means the NEET syllabus, right? It is our dream, also your dream, now mixed together and result are come. This is a very dream result. My dream that help to create the 10 doctors which serve our society, because when the doctor is serve our society, that is very helpful to all human beings. Only we help 10 doctors or create 10 doctors who is very helpful to others in per year, right? Only we create 10 doctors. It is my dream. Okay, so you are ultimately your dream and my dream now connect together. In the first chapter to last chapter, every chapter we follow every topic, and it is my challenge that any questions do not come outside our syllabus, outside our teaching methodologies. So you follow every topic, every chapter, every plan, every strategy. You must ultimately get 340 plus marks in the biology. We can prove this thing. Please, you give the 1 year. After 1 year, I prove it that it is very easy way to get 340 marks without any tension, without any pressure, without any go to coaching center. If you go to any coaching center, okay, very good, you go. But who is not go to other coaching center? So that time this is very helpful those students which is study in their home. Because in our India, in our West Bengal, in many students who do not afford the tuition fees of the different institute fees. So that is the very important, but they have ability to give our nations a very good doctor. Now we find out this type of student and help them and create a history in our nations to produce very good doctor. So now start our journey in the living world, because we know we create the living doctor. Living doctor means they have humanities, they have the power of healing. So this is the living doctor. We do not create the non-living doctors. So, and like same chapter is there in our syllabus, that is the living world. In the living world chapters, that is very important. In that chapter we discuss about the living world. Our nature is so beautiful. Here the biodiversity is very huge. That is a different type of animals, different type of plants. Their diversity is so beautiful. That is, we are very pleased about it. Different types of animals, their behavior, their structure, totally different. Right? And we are the human beings. That is the God's more important nature creation, more developed creation, right? The human beings. But the different animals also their behavioral pattern, their structure, all of these things we discuss about this chapter. Different scientists work on the living world. They study the living world, and they giving the name, they give the right identification in the living world chapter. Not only the animals, you have the plants, they all have all the diversities. Also we discuss in the plant diversity also in that particular chapter. Show plant, animal, microorganism, different things is there in our environment, but all of these are living things. But in our societies, in art, non-living things also be there, like air is there, temperature, like soil, all of this is the important role with the living things. Also we try to understand what is the relationship between the living things and non-living things in that particular chapter, right? So in our NCERT syllabus or NEET syllabus, we divided this chapter into the 4 topics. First topic, that is the living world. What is the living? And in the second chapter, second topic in that particular chapter, we discuss the diversity in the living world. And in the third topic, we discuss about the taxonomical categories. And in fourth topic in that particular chapter, we discuss about the taxonomical aids. Every topic we are specialized, right? We are focused on it, and any questions do not avoid in that particular topic. So every topic is very important, right? So at first we discuss about the first topic, what is the living. Today our class is only in the what is living, and in the second topic we discuss in the second class, and third class third topic, and fourth class fourth topic. So living world chapter we discuss about the fourth topic, right? So what is our planning, what is our procedure to study? At first I teach you the every topic very easily and in every depth, right? So that is very clear to understand we. Next part, that is your work. You study this chapter from the NCERT books. And number 3, you write down a short note about this chapter from the NCERT books. Number 4, you study different MCQs from this topic, living world, that means the what is living, right? And 25 questions you study in every topic in that particular chapter. This is our planning, this is our procedure in 4 steps. After you complete the 4th step, you doing the different test, different mock test, you will achieve 100% success. Any questions do not get other point in our syllabus. Every question you give the right answer, right? So the 4th step, first step, learn, right? Second step, learn the NCERT books. Third step, that is write the notes. And 4th step, that is the very good, the study of the MCQs. So at first we go to our first topic, that is of what is living. What is the living characteristic features? Every living things have some basic features. So we define this is the living things. But what is this type of living things? Characters. Number 1, like growth. If you know that every living organism participate growth, with some exception is there. We study these things. Reproduction, another one important characteristic features. Third one, ability to sense the environment. Next, ability to self-replicate. Metabolism, self-organization. That is the main characteristic features of the living things. So if any MCQ is coming, so characteristic features of living things, we give the 4 options, like 1, 2, 3, 4, or this 3 option is there, and in the 4 option, all of this option is the option 4. So this type of questions is our MCQs is coming from this first page of the NCERT books also. But which characteristic point is more important? We have some exception, that is show we focused in every characteristic features. So now we get the first characteristic features in some details, that is the growth. So all living organisms grow. All living organisms. So all living organisms growth, but first of all increase their mass and increase their number. So mass, that means the internal matter is increased. Second one, number also be increased. In the human beings, you know, when the child is grow, that time their mass of the cells and number of the cells both are increased. So very important MCQ option. The growth are defined into the two important topic, that is the increase of mass, option A, option B, increase in the number. So both two option is the right for the case of growth. Next one, a multicellular organism, how they grow? Multicellular organism like the human beings, they grow by the cell division process. Like you think in the human beings, we are grow by the mitosis cell division process. This is a specialized cell division process happening in the body cell. Next one, a plants grow throughout their life, but animals don't. They have a particular some frame or time to their growth, but plants, they grow throughout their life. Throughout their life. And next one, in animals, so they grow up to a certain age. So that is the difference between the plants and animals for the growth. Plants grow continuous their life, but animals don't. Next one, unicellular organism, very important MCQ, right? In 2016, one MCQ or in the AIPMT exam, a question is coming from that particular point, that the unicellular organism. What is the mean by unicellular organism? The organism which have only one cell. In that, from this one particular cells, they are able to do all the functions. That is the unicellular organism. And unicellular organisms grow by only cell division. But you tell the what type of cell division they are applying? Mitosis or amitosis, which is the better option? Right? Amitosis of process. You know that any unicellular organism and their name? Right? Very good. That is the amoeba. That is the bacteria. They grow by cell division process. That is the amitosis or binary fission. So unicellular organisms grow by the cell division process. Next one. This is like the binary fission, when the bacteria or amoeba, they grow by the division process, by the cell division process. Only division is the factors of the unicellular organism. Right? So in the first paragraph of the NCERT books, we discuss the different characteristic features, and in the second part, we discuss the main characteristic features of the growth and what is the different features in the unicellular organism and the multicellular organism. So most in some MCQs may be coming that particular point. All living organisms grow. Okay, very fine, very important topic. But non-living things also we grow. It is right or wrong? If we go some hilly regions, that time you know some sand or dust particles or fall on it. They can grow in every year. After 10 years, you think that, you say that in the particular regions they grow. So it is the living things. All living things grow. So it is the living? No, it is not the living things. They grow, but another some characteristic features is not matched with that particular object. So they are not the living things. So it is the exception. That means non-living object also will grow. Right? Very important qualities of these living things and their exception. So in the living organism grow from the inside. In that particular things or object, growth are happening from outside, but human beings grow from inside. So it is called intrinsic growth. On the other hand, their growth is from external point. So it is called extrinsic growth. So growth is two types: external, internal. Extrinsic, intrinsic. Non-living things. So the extrinsic growth. On the other hand, the living things grow from inside. Like the human beings, we grow out from the internal, intrinsic growth. This is the basic difference between the living things and non-living things in the particular case of growth. Like in every living organism, growth are happening from inside. Next one, growth cannot be taken in the defining property. It is very MCQ, very important MCQs found in the NEET exam. Growth is non-defining property. Why? Because living things and non-living things both can show the growth. So you cannot define is the most important property like growth, right? So this is the growth property. This is the living things first important property, but not defining property. Very good. Next, reproduction. You know the reproduction is a basic characteristic features of all living things. Maybe it is the asexual or the sexual. You know the reproduction is a two type according to their parents. If the single parent is there, they are asexual. Two parents, ultimately they are sexuals. But in the sexual reproduction process, the fertilization is the most important step. But what is the fertilization? Fertilization is the fusion of two gametes. Two gametes means male gametes and female gametes. They are fused together. It is the fertilization, and it is the most important property of reproduction also. Because in here the two cells are fused. These cells are haploid cells. The fusion of two gamete cells, it is the reproduction. It is the reproduction process in the human beings. That is the sexual reproduction process. But all living things are doing the sexual reproduction. No, all living things do not doing the sexual reproduction process. Another one process there, that is the asexual process. But sexual process is most important. Why? Because in that particular process the variation are happening. Because the crossing over, it is an important process that is happening in the process of sexual reproduction. Right? So variation is come in the sexual process. So we discussed these two processes in some details about what is asexual and what is the sexual process. After the fertilization of two cells, what is happening? What is happening? That means the zygote formation happening. Zygote are diploid. That means they have the chromosome number 2n. After the zygote is formed, the cell division will start. This type of cell division is the mitosis process. And then the embryo formation is happening. After that, the human baby are developed. So that is the process of reproduction. So reproductions, so we are classify our characteristic features. That means the multicellular organism, like human beings, progeny features more or less similar of their parents. Why not similar? Because they do the sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, so multicellular process, multicellular organism generally reproduced by sexual process. Very good. On the other hand, sexual reproduction is the answer for the variation. So one parents or two parents, that means the one couples, they have the 2 or 3 children, they are not the similar. Why? Because that time the answer is the sexual reproduction. So sexual reproductions have the main cause of the variation. Now next one, fungi. You know the fungi is the most important kingdom of the Arunava system. These fungi are the eukaryotic cell but heterotrophic. That means they cannot produce their own food. That is the okay, this is the fungi. But how they reproduce, that is the main point in that particular topic now. right? So they reproduce by the asexual and sexual, both two process. But most important is the asexual also. In that particular type of fungi, this is a mushroom-like. You know, fungi multiply and spread easily due to the millions of asexual spore, right? Not the sexual, also asexual spore by which fungi are reproduced. Clear? So we understand multicellular organism and fungi and their reproduction process. Now we discuss the second characteristic features of the living things, that is the reproduction. Now, one example like yeast, another one the hydra, and their reproduction process is more common between these two organisms. This process is called the budding process. But what is the budding process? In that budding process, one external growth or projections are happening from their body, that is called the buds. And when the reproduction are happening through these buds, it is called the budding process. Two organisms, which one? That is the yeast, and second one, hydra. They are reproduced by the budding process. Another one, that is most important example, that is the planaria. What is it? It is a platyhelminthes, flatworm. But their reproduction is very interesting. They reproduce by the regeneration process. What is the mean by regeneration? If their body is segmented or break down, but from every breakdown part, a new organism can be produced. That is called the regeneration process, and that is happening in the planaria. Another one, echinodermata groups in the starfish also exhibit this type of regeneration process. But you know, very important information from the NCERT book. Most important part also in your MCQs. The fungi, the filamentous algae, which one? That is the Spirogyra. They and the Protonema of moss are reproduced by the fragmentation process. So one important MCQs, in the fragmentation process, three organisms are reproduced. What is their name? Number one option, fungi. Number two, Spirogyra. That is the filamentous algae. Number three, the moss. Both these organisms are reproduced by the fragmentation. So we now discuss the different modes of reproduction. Number one, budding. Number two, regeneration. Number three, fragmentation process. This three process is the asexual. That means in that particular type of process, the organism are cloned to their parents. What does mean the clone? Clone is the morphologically and genetically are similar organism, that is the product of the sexual reproduction. Next one, reproductions. In the case of unicellular organism, unicellular, you know, that is the amoeba and some algae like Chlamydomonas. Reproduction is synonyms with the growth. Why? Because they have only one cell. One cell grow, divide. One cell grow, divide. So their growth and division are the same things. So increase in number of cells and growth is the similar things. It is very important questions. That questions in the MCQs, increase in number of cells and same times the growth are happening which type of organism. We given two examples. Unicellular organism algae like Chlamydomonas, another one is amoeba. Very good. Like in that particular picture it is happening. But all living things reproduce. That is very important question. If any organism cannot reproduce, so they are non-living or living. What is it? Like you go to an example like mule, honeybees or the infertile couples. They do not reproduce, but they are living things. So living things, all the living things can reproduce, it is not the true. right? So 3 example is there in our NCERT books. Also very important question in our NET exam, that many organisms which do not reproduce. Number 1 option mule, number 2 infertile human couples, and also be honeybees. Honeybees, but one honeybees, that means it is the worker honeybees, they cannot reproduce. So the reproductions is do not the defining property also. Growth is not defining property, also reproduction is not the defining property. But which one is the defining property? Now we discuss about it. That is the metabolism. What is the metabolism? You know, the all living cells, organisms are made up of cells. Maybe it is unicellular, maybe it is multicellular, but all are made up of cells. And inside the cells, different type of chemical reaction are happening, and sum total of the all chemical reaction occurring in the body or occurring inside the cell, it is called metabolism. Metabolic activity also be metabolic reactions, means it is the chemical reactions. So it is maybe demonstrated in the in vitro, that means outside in the body. In the laboratory it is also be possible, right? You also be some experiments doing in the laboratory. Metabolism is the defining features in all living organisms, but because without metabolism, without chemical reaction, any living organism cannot survive. One important question, but some reactions may be performed outside the body. It is true. On the other hand, metabolism is a unique features. Without it, any living organism cannot be survived. So the metabolism is the unique defining properties of the living organism. We get one important defining property. Next one, all living organisms made up of cells, unicellular or multicellular, or prokaryotes or eukaryotes. But what is the difference between prokaryotes and eukaryotes? Prokaryotes have no well-defined nucleus. On the other hand, eukaryotes have more complex organization and their nucleus are membrane bound. So all organisms therefore are aware of their surroundings. You know, if something has changed in the environment, all organisms can aware. All organisms can sense in that particular changes in our environment. It is a very important abilities of the living organism. But human beings is the only organism who aware of himself. Himself means has self-consciousness. Because the living things, different animals have their awareness property, but have not self-conscious property in all developed conditions. But only human beings. It is very important question. Human beings have only organism who have the self-consciousness. Very important questions, right? So we get another important characteristic features. All living things have the cell, that means have the cellular organization, and the cellular organization is the defining property. So we get the two defining property now. Number 1, metabolism. Number 2, cellular organization. Very good. And finally, in that particular topic, the consciousness is the very and last topic we discuss about that. Living organism is the ability to sense their surroundings, environment, and respond this environment stimuli, which could be physical, chemical, biological. Something like some chemical things they can sense. Something like touch, it is a physical. Something like some biological events are happening. This is the external stimuli, and living organism can sense or conscious about these things. Living organisms are self-replicating property, very unique, very important property. That means that every cell can produce their replica, right? Can produce their same type of cells. Self-replicating. It is very unique MCQ question, and all the points that come in our MCQ. first point, self-replicating, they produce some replica. Second one, evolve. That means every living organism can change or change their structure to survive in the particular environment. Self-regulating, they internally regulate their structure, right? Self-regulating, interactive system capable of responding to external stimulus. So this point is very important for MCQs. So finally we discuss our first day, what is the biology. Also it is an important question of the MCQ. Biology is the story of life on earth. This is the point of the MCQ. Option, biology is the story of the life on earth, right? This is the biology. In the earth we discuss about the life form and their life processes in the biology. So biology is the story of evolution of the living organism of earth. Mainly we discuss how the living organism can change, how the living organism can evolve. It is our main aim in the study of biology. So we discuss the different characteristic features of the living things, right? This is our first topic in our first medical class, NET, right? So you first option clear. So you understand clearly. I think you clear all the subtopic in the NCERT book. Now you read NCERT book, right? Next you write down the topic, write down some notes about the topic. Next doing some MCQs, and you confident that after this type of planning you are able to handle all of the MCQs. Okay, this is our first class. Now go to end, and next you see in the next day and next topic, that is the biodiversity. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, bye.